Welcome to our video. Today we focus on helping you improve your English pronunciation and speaking skills using a method of the shadowing technique. Shadowing involves listening to the local sound and repeating it out loud 1 second behind the speaker to improve pronunciation, rhythm, and fluency. If you struggle to keep up with the speaker, you can adjust the playback speed in the settings to slow it down and make it easier to follow. Follow along, practice with us and see how much progress you can make. Let's get started. The Tale of Daniel and the Hidden Talent. Daniel was a quiet boy who lived in the small village of Meadowbrook. Tucked between rolling hills and meadows bursting with wildflowers, it was a peaceful place where everyone knew each other's name. Daniel, however, often felt invisible. While his classmates laughed and played, he preferred to sit under the giant oak tree at the edge of the schoolyard, sketching with a stub of a pencil on whatever scrap of paper he could find. At school, Daniel wasn't particularly good at sports or academics. His teachers described him as average, and his classmates didn't pay him much attention. "He's just Daniel," they would say, as if that explained everything. This left Daniel feeling like a shadow, always present but rarely noticed. One grey autumn morning, everything began to change. The discovery. The annual Meadowbrook Village Fair was just around the corner, and this year's theme was Our Magical World. The whole village buzzed with excitement as preparations began. Stalls selling homemade jams and crafts lined the cobbled streets, and performers rehearsed their acts for the talent show. "Are you entering the show, Daniel?" asked Mrs. Clark, the kind librarian who often gave Daniel leftover paper for his sketches. Daniel shook his head shyly. "I'm not talented enough." Mrs. Clark tilted her head. "What about your drawings? I've seen them, and they're wonderful." Daniel's cheeks turned pink. He had never shown his work to anyone other than Mrs. Clark, and even then he considered them too simple to be worth much. "Why not draw something for the fair?" she encouraged. "You might surprise yourself." That evening Daniel sat at his small desk staring at a blank sheet of paper. Slowly he began to sketch. His pencil seemed to dance across the page, bringing to life a magical forest filled with creatures from his imagination, talking foxes, sparkling rivers, and towering trees with faces hidden in their bark. By the time he was done, he felt something he hadn't experienced before, a tiny flicker of pride. Sharing the talent. Mrs. Clark was thrilled when Daniel brought her the drawing. "This is marvellous, Daniel," she exclaimed. "Let's frame it and display it at the fair." The thought of strangers looking at his work made Daniel nervous, but Mrs. Clark's enthusiasm was infectious. He reluctantly agreed, and the drawing was soon placed at the centre of the village's art exhibit. On the day of the fair, Daniel stood nervously by the exhibit, watching people stop to admire his work. "This is incredible," one woman said. "Who drew this?" a man asked. When Mrs. Clark pointed to Daniel, his cheeks burned, but for the first time he felt a spark of confidence. People were noticing him, not for being just Daniel, but for something he had created. A life-transformed word spread quickly through the village about Daniel's talent. A local artist offered to mentor him, and soon Daniel was learning about different techniques and mediums. He discovered the joy of painting with watercolours and the precision of using fine pens for intricate designs. At school, everything felt different. His classmates began asking him to draw pictures for them or to help with their art projects. "You're amazing, Daniel," one boy said, handing him a sketchbook as a gift. Daniel's self-confidence grew with every compliment and every new drawing. He no longer hid under the oak tree, but sat proudly with his peers, sharing his ideas and enjoying their company. His art didn't just change how others saw him, It changed how he saw himself. He realized he wasn't just Daniel. He was Daniel, the artist. A magical world. By the following year, Daniel's work was featured in an art gallery in the nearby city. People came from all over to see the boy who had transformed his imagination into stunning pieces of art. His favourite piece, however, remained the first one he had drawn for the fair. Whenever he looked at it, he was reminded of the journey he had taken. From the shy boy under the oak tree to a confident young artist, Daniel's story was proof that hidden talents could change lives. The villagers of Meadowbrook often shared his story, using it as an example to inspire their children. "Never doubt your abilities," they would say. "You might be like Daniel, with a talent waiting to be discovered." Daniel, now surrounded by friends and opportunities, never forgot his humble beginnings. His journey taught him that sometimes all it takes is one person to believe in you, and the courage to believe in yourself. Thank you for watching the video. We hope this video was helpful for your English practice. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a comment below. Your feedback helps us improve, and by sharing your thoughts, you can connect with others on their English learning journey. Let's grow together. See you next time.